In question 4, we have to solve some equations involving indices, these powers. The first one, 3 to some power, m, equals 81. Well, because 81 is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, because 3 times 3 is 9, times that by 3 is 27, times that by 3 is 81. That means 3 to the power of 4 is 81. So matching up what we have here and what we have here, that's telling us that m equals 4. And that's the answer for the first question. M equals 4. The second part of the question, part 2, we've got 36p to the power of 4, all to the power of a half, equals 24. Now, the power of a half means square root. So I could write that like that, just changing the power of a half to be the square root. So this is the square root of 36 and the square root of p to the power of 4 equals 24. And they're being multiplied together. Well, the square root of 36 is 6. And the square root of p to the power of 4, if you're square rooting, you always half the power. So that's p squared. And just over here, we could have done that as that's p to the power of 4 to the power of a half. Again, if you do a power to a power, you times those powers together. And 4 times by a half is 2. So that's just another way of looking at that a little bit there. And that's equal to 24. So if I divide both sides by 6, I get p squared is 24 divided by 6, which is 4. So to get from p squared to p, I need a square root. And if you put p equals 2, you don't get all the marks. Because it's not just 2 that's the square root of 4, it's plus 2 and also minus 2. So you do need to make sure every time you square root, you put a plus and a minus down. Otherwise, you'd have lost a mark on this question. So the answer we're looking for here is p is 2 or p is minus 2. And that is the answer to part 2. Next, part 3 of the question. We have a different equation, which is 5 to the n times by 5 to the n plus 4 equals 25. So this is now part 3 of question 4. When you're timesing, if these big numbers here are the same, you add the powers. So the left-hand side of the equals, that's the same as 5 to the power of n plus 4. So n plus n is 2n. So I have 5 to the power of 2n plus 4 is 25. But we should know that 25 is the same as 5 squared. So we get these two things. Now, if 5 to the power of something equals 5 to the power of something, this power here and this power here must be equal to each other. So we've got 2n plus 4 equals 2. Simple equation to solve. If we take 4 off both sides, we get 2n equals minus 2. And if we then divide both sides by 2, I get n equals minus 1. And that is the answer to part 3, the final part of question 4.